Julian McMahon never chased the spotlight. His path led from suburban Australia to the heart of Hollywood, but he was never a movie star in the conventional sense. He was a survivor, a shapeshifter, a quiet powerhouse who brought complexity and magnetism to every role. As news of his passing at 56 rippled through the entertainment world, it became clear how much power he wielded, not by loud acclaim, but through the lingering presence of his work and the warmth he brought to every set, stage, and screen. He was born on July 27, 1968, in Sydney, the only son of Sir William "Billy" McMahon, Australia's Prime Minister from 1971 to 1972. Politics and privilege shaped his early environment, but even beneath the veneer of power, Julian gravitated toward creativity. He studied law at the University of Sydney and economics at Wollongong, yet he never lost the curious pull toward performance. His first steps into show business came riding waves of modeling ads in Australian television. In 1989, Julian made his debut on Australian television in The Power of the Passion, followed by a pivotal role on Home and Away. Between 1989 and 1991, he starred as Ben Lucini, drawing both praise and attention, his melting accent giving way to polished charisma and unexpected emotional depth. On that soap opera stage, he began building a career not on flashy theatrics, but on honesty and nuance. In the early 90s, Julian crossed oceans for the U.S., drawn to the opportunity to expand his craft. He landed in another world portraying Ian Rain from 1993 to 1995. It was a steady gig, but Julian yearned for riskier terrain. He found it as Detective John Grant in Profiler, a role he inhabited from 1996 to 2000. In that long-form television groove, he cultivated a serious presence and sharp intensity that made him more than just another soap actor turned American success story. And yet, it was supernatural drama that brought him pop culture recognition. In 2000, Julian debuted as Cole Turner, half demon, half lawyer, in Charmed. His portrayal of conflicted power earned crossover appeal. He was dangerous, charming, unpredictable. The audience didn't just see a villain, they saw a man shaped by purpose and pain, struggling with morality and desire. In that role, he showed that darkness could draw empathy, that no one's soul is irredeemable, no pleasure purely vain. But Julian reached his peak in the early 2000s. In 2003, he became Dr. Christian Troy, the main surgeon in Nip Tuck. The show earned critical acclaim and a cult following. Julian's performance oscillated between charisma and menace, pleasure and fear. Christian Troy wasn't just an anti-hero, he was a mirror to modern excess and insecurity. Julian carried that complexity with a Golden Globe nomination, but more importantly, with a magnetic intensity that felt thrilling to watch and impossible to ignore. His success on television carried into film. He became Dr. Doom, Victor Von Doom, in Fantastic Four 2005, and its sequel in 2007. As the analog antagonist to a youthful superhero squad, Julian brought gravitas. His doom was regal, wounded, dangerous, a reminder that villains often carry more emotional truth than heroes. He turned a CGI-heavy role into a human presence who could command respect. Even as franchises tempted him, Julian sank his teeth into smaller, varied film roles. He shared scenes with Sandra Bullock in Premonition, with Bruce Willis in R.E.D., and took turns as a detective in thriller vehicles like Paranoia. Worth noting was his voice work returning as Doom in video games, and his willingness to support indie projects and thrillers like Faces in the Crowd and Bait 3D. He proved to be as comfortable in big-budget blockbusters as he was in experiments, always bringing focus and craft rather than celebrity. On television, too, he shifted genres. He appeared in sci-fi and thrillers like Hunters, Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency, the MCU-linked Runaways, and more recently, FBI Most Wanted, where he portrayed Special Agent Jess LaCroix. The show, produced by Dick Wolf, gave Julian an opportunity to balance kindness and authority, strategy and humanity. Another complex lead who didn't fit one mold. In 2025, Julian took on a poignant final role in Netflix's The Residence, playing Australia's Prime Minister, a circle completed from his political heritage. It seemed fitting that his career came full turn toward performance drawing on family roots. In March of that year, he promoted The Surfer at SXSW, a final performance project with Nicolas Cage, as his family, fans, and peers looked forward to more from the actor they had witnessed growing, shifting, and surprising them. Amid all this success, Julian lived with an understated grace. His private life included marriages to Danny Minogue, 1994 to 95, and Brooke Burns, 1999 to 2001, with whom he had a daughter. In 2014, he married Kelly, who would be at his side when he passed. There were no tabloid scandals, just a quiet dedication to family, to craft, to health. For many, he remained a gentleman's actor, generous to co-stars, respectful to fans, steady behind the scenes. On July 2, 2025, Julian McMahon died peacefully at his home in Clearwater, Florida, after a private battle with cancer at age 56. In a public statement, his wife Kelly remembered him as someone who loved life deeply, family, craft, laughter, fans, and whose greatest wish was to bring joy to others. The family has asked for privacy as they grieve. Tributes came steadily. Nip Tuck and FBI most wanted teams posted condolences. Rose McGowan praised his force of brilliance. Iowan Grufford recalled the joy of playing his on-screen rival, and Holly Marie Combs highlighted his one-of-a-kind humor. Fans remembered his kindness, that he once asked after a viewer's mother, and how he never lost touch with empathy. Looking back, Julian's career is a roadmap through transformation. He moved from modeling to Aussie soaps, from demon to surgeon, from superhero nemesis to detective leader. But the through line was always sincerity and layered humanity. His characters enthralled because they were broken, ambitious, troubled, but deeply felt. He was also a public acknowledgement that greatness isn't always loud. Julian didn't light up tabloids. He didn't chase fame. Yet audiences never forgot him. His final image, standing before cameras at Cannes in 2024, was that of a man who remained elegantly himself. Julian McMahon's legacy is in his presence. You could sense his weight in a room, his focus in a scene, his warmth in an exchange. He was never a headline-making celebrity. He was a craftsman, a man who told stories through eyes, pauses, silences, who could reveal vulnerability with a flicker. He gave life to characters that shimmered with moral tension and emotional truth. He leaves behind a daughter, a wife, a sister, a daughter of a former prime minister, and a world of fans who feel they grew with him. His work lives on in Arc Where Here's Afternoons of Charmed, Moral Reckoning of Nip Tuck, Villainy of Dr. Doom, Dedication of Jess LaCroix. Each role unique but tied together by a thread of authenticity. In a career spanning 3 decades and dozens of productions, Julian McMahon never stopped evolving. He embraced change. He carried legacy. He honored craft. When he stepped onto the set for the last time, he left a blueprint: honesty over illusion, connection over spectacle, substance over applause. In the quiet aftermath of his farewell, that blueprint remains his greatest gift.